So we are going to start the Dhamma discussion, English Dhamma discussion. So I think when I was leaving, it's Tuvataka Sutta we were discussing. Still, we are continuing that, right? Right. What's if you have the Pali verse?
I don't have the Pali verse here.
Okay. What is the number like? Yeah. What I mean is, if you can count the starting from number 1, 2, 3, 4. Kaya vikkena tittaya upavadang bhikkhuna karayya kuhinchi gamecha nabi sajjaya labha kamya janang na lapayaya. So if you can read the meaning, then I can connect it.
A bhikkhu should not engage in buying and selling.
Right, correct. That's the one. Good.
He should not do anything that incurs criticism.
Mm-hmm.
He should not form intimacy in the village.
Right.
He should not address people from a desire for gain.
Right. Okay, so basically, did you all finish this, or this is the one we are going to do?
We finished the previous one last time.
Fine.
Let's see, and that was, we did that on April 23rd. So,
okay.
I'm not sure, that might have been last week.
Okay. So I'll read the Pali verse. That's also interesting, and Kaya vikkaye na tittaya upavadam bhikkhu na karayya kuhinchi gamecha nabi sajjaya labha kamya janang na lapayaya. Kaya vikkaya. Kaya vikkaya is one precept for Upasampada monks. Typically even in the 10 precepts, there are what is the 10th one? Not to handle money. So not to handle money does not only mean that we are using typical money and then doing any kind of a transaction. Say we can assume that we receive some money and we can give that money to some person and we can get what we want. We can simply buy that, isn't it? So that is possible. So that is a typical monetary transaction. But apart from that, so Kaya Vikkaya here, assume that I have I have good phone now. Okay, I have this phone. It's a really expensive one. So rather than I want to use this phone, assume that I want something else. So what can I do? I can give this to another person, and I can ask, please give me that. In terms of kind of an exchange, it's not money involved, but now this has kind of a monetary value now. So I am not using money, but I can use this as a way of exchanging something else from an external person. Trade, exactly. Kind of a trade. So, same concept, but the typical money, conventional money is not involved, but some other way we are doing. Exactly. So I have something valuable, but I don't need it like now, but I have some desire for something else. So I am selling this and getting that. So that is also not allowed. So within the group, it is allowed, by the way. So that's also interesting that we need to know. Now say we have another monk, another nun, like that, Samaneri. So within that group, we can do it. Now say I have something valuable and I feel that you have something else that you don't need it, and you also telling that I don't need it, then I am giving this and you can give it to me. That's allowed. No problem. Within the group, that's allowed, but not within the outside. So the Kaya Vikkaya can come to that where not even Jata Rupa. So Jata Rupa Rajata Patiggahana is what we typically say, where the conventional monetary transaction I am not doing. I am not using money. True. But at the same time, here Buddha highlight Kaya Vikkaya na tittaya. Even the exchange of goods, exchange of whatever another valuables, I am not doing it. Because monks, even though they are not using money, they can do this thing. So even that Buddha has prevented. So he is very much here promoting. So don't do that. Kaya vikkaya na tittaya. Upavadam bhikkhu na karayya kohinchi. And he is not blaming others, or say looking down others, condemning others. Let's say, looking down, some other term. Probably Bhikkhu Bodhi may have a better term. Let me just do this thing, and then you can read in detail. Gamecha nabhi sajjaya. That means too much involvement within the village. Say I have a kind of a relationship with a woman. While I am going on Pindapata, I may hang around in that particular place for a long time, having a little chat and exchanging this thing and that thing. So that is not allowed. So you can't have any kind of such kind of relationships within the village. So if you are going on village Pindapata, keep it onto that. So going from one house to the other house, and don't have any external relationships or excess relationship, unnecessary relationship. You have gone for Pindapata to alms round, collect some alms, that's all. So you don't even allow to look at the face when the person is offering dana. And if they are even asking you to come at home and I am going to offer meat something, please come and sit, and I am going to offer this and I am doing that, and we had a special occasion. Those things are possible. So if are we giving any kind of favorism in such situation? So those things are the things that we need to be careful on certain times. So when we approach a certain particular house, so there may be the people who are known to us, who are dear to us, and whom that we like really, and we have a little bit of intimacy with them. So then probably we are giving some special attention to them, we are giving some favorism to them, we are taking more food from them. Possible, right? So these are typically, it is operating within me. Say when I have a good relationship with someone, then I am having a long chat with him. If an unknown person comes, maybe within a short time I'm busy. But for a known person, but for my friend, but for my person whom I like, I have time. So that is the way we operate, no? So, but how are we going to have kind of an equanimous attitude to everyone? Either he is a known person or unknown person. If I am just looking at him the same way, in a similar way, neither. Like, say, if you have some action to do, some help needed, I am just doing it, that's all. There are no further relationships. So that's what here highlighted. Gamecha nabi sajjaya. So you are not having any kind of unnecessary intimate relationships, too much involvement, kind of thing with the villagers. Nowadays what happens is, now say that in certain other suttas Buddha mentioned, so when villagers are happy, monk can go and become happy. When villagers are unhappy, monk can go and become unhappy. When they are crying, monk also crying. When they are laughing, monk also laughing. Is it the correct way? That's not the correct way. That's the point. Okay, when villagers are happy, we are going there and we are also having a partying and all these things. So that is not allowed. When they are worried and crying, we are also going and worrying and crying and cursing the other party. So that is also not the thing accepted. We have to be in the middle. Either they are in a elated state or either they are in a sorrowful state. We as monk have to be in the middle. So it is not that we are promoting elated, excited happiness, or we are not promoting the other side, the depressive, suffering, sorrowful state. So we have to maintain kind of a peacefulness, irrespective of the happiness or the sorrow within the village. That's the Buddha's aim. So that is where, now that is only the way that we can give a, kind of a sermon to the people. Assume that they are crying. Say village has gone through a real calamity. Say it was washed out, say thieves attacked the village, or flooding has happened, several houses being burnt. So now the monk, next day you are going to the village for Pindapata. Now you observe many people are there, the householders are crying and they are telling you, Bante, look at this, Bante, everything burnt, Bante. So are you also going to cry? Then no use, no. I mean, you are there to, console them. Yeah, this is the way. I mean, you need to understand this. This is the suffering. I mean, we all are going through. We don't know whether it's going to happen to my kuti when I am going back. So that's the situation. So likewise, you have to give a kind of some good sermon to them so that they'll be, uplifted, come back to their normal state rather than drowned in the kind of a sorrowful state. So we have to be in that level. And similarly, now say the opposite. Say there's a kind of a wedding or something, and all people are there, kind of a ceremony. They are dancing and shouting, drinking. All things are there. Now tomorrow we are going on village Pindapata. So they are asking, Bante, are you going to have a beer?
People from the village, they are thinking if we should give this to Sariputta Thero and the Devadatta Thero, and all the villagers really delight to give it to Devadatta, which means that he was always, as
with
you
them.
said,
with them.
lulling their babies and all these things. So
Exactly.
this sermon remind me that story.
Exactly. So that is why it is called. There's a separate actually now for these kind of states. Buddha even has established precepts. There's a Sanghadi says a precept for this. Kuladusana Sikkhapada. Kuladusana. So that means, say, now it is not as monks, it is not that we are making kind of a relationship with the villagers by giving things, giving some material things. It is we are not supposed to do it in a way. So assume that we are giving this and that, and we are trying to attract them. We are trying to be a good monk by materially supporting them. Say offering them money, offering them whatever the requisites, and say as he mentioned, lulling their children and fondling and tapping them, and always going to their house, and all these things are unnecessary things.
But
And one more. So and again, now suppose the temple has some say harvest, a good harvest. So I am sharing this with the people. Say we have money, so we are giving money to people. So this is another way of attracting people. No, that is called kuladusana. But that is what happening nowadays. But the opposite is what Buddha mentioned. You are supposed to give only the Dhamma. You can teach. You are teaching not your thing, but you are teaching the Buddha's thing. The Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma. That is what we have to give. So, so likewise, so how are we maintaining a kind of balance? I mean, it doesn't mean that if they are coming and asking something, I mean, it's not, okay, I can only give Dhamma, so don't touch that. So it's not like that. I mean, can share, it's a kind of a proper way. But with an ulterior motive to get a attraction, get a kind of a, become famous by giving something and getting their sort of consent by giving something, so that is not appropriate. So that is what we need to understand. So how we are associating villagers. So how we are associating the other fellows in the close by. So it's not an easy task. I mean, while at the monastery we are in a way very safe. So everything is taken here. I mean, we don't know whom has offered the dana, and we are not maintaining any kind of relationship with this outside, and we are very safe. But suppose now you are running a place, and you need a lot of help from the other people, and how are we going to get their help? So are we offering whatever we have, material things, whatever we have to them, and then asking them to help? Or are we asking them to help out of their generosity or out of their faith? So that is a different story, isn't it? And very difficult. I mean, these are very practical, difficult things. So here Buddha highlights Gamecha Nabi Sajjaya. You want to tell something? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bante. What I wanted to say wasn't there was a monk who was like giving away heavy property of the sangha to a lay person, right? To like win. Is that something you're referring to? Or there was like a monk, he was like giving heavy property of the sangha away to a lay person to like win favor with them. or something like that. So that's not the Sanghadisesa offense, is it?
No, that's the thing. Sanghadisesa comes where, now they assume now there's another monk, okay, who don't want to maintain too much close relationship with them. So he simply go to this Pindapata and he just get some food and then he mind his own business. Now, to whom that the villagers will start like? To the previous one. So previous one, so they are always coming and they are there for them and always fondling their children and coming to home. If they are happy, monk also happy. If they are unhappy, monk also unhappy. So it's a very kind of he has become part of the family now. Monk has become part of the family. They are member of the family. Now they would like that particular monk than the other monk who is simply coming and collecting some wood and go away. There is no relationship, no. So the people may like that person. Like the monk who are having a close relationship with that family. So that is what Buddha mentioned. This is now you have polluted the family. Now their way of thinking is completely different, no? So they are not really appreciating the proper monkhood, the monk's qualities, samana qualities. Rather, it has now monk representing a different person now, very much like that society. Yeah. So he's a kind of a part of that society, part of that village, part of that family, another family member like. And so that is not what is expected from the monkhood. So monk has to take care of his own spiritual path, no? So while he is taking care of his own spiritual path, if someone is coming when they go through a huge suffering, then monk should be able to preach something and uplift them, rather than going and attaching and maintain unnecessary relationship with them. So now things have changed a lot. Now actually what happened is, so to the level that the people have polluted, so they expect that from the monk now. If another monk come and mind their business, so they will ask, go away, we don't want you to stay in our temple.
Bhante, I had to, like, when I was in Colombo, like, I certainly, like out with my family, I had to certainly, like, make sure to, like, not, like, get caught up in, like, the talk, like, that the people some of the people I was around, that they were having, I just had to remember, like, I just, like, getting, like, my, just, like, some of the talk that they had, is just, stuff that I'm not supposed to get in. You're not supposed to, I had to, exactly. I had to keep, kind of like arm's length, like be polite with them, but yes. But not like get in.
That's the thing. It doesn't mean that we cut them off or look them down or condemn them or, kind of degrade them. But we have to maintain kind of a distance. Be careful at the same time. Have some loving kindness also.
Yeah. Yeah, I just tried to remember, like, when I spoke to, like, my parents, like, a lot of the time, I think mainly, and, the people that I saw, the lay people that I saw, it just took, I think mainly I tried to just keep the conversations that I had about Dhamma, like things related to Dhamma.
Correct.
And, like, I was, like, talking about how I had, some people that I know in Colombo. They had invited me for lunch at their home. I turned it down, but I was explaining, like, with them the Mahakassapa Samyutta from the Samyutta Nikaya, where he was talking to the Buddha. The Buddha was like saying, "Come, take invitations." And he was like, no, I want to stay out in the forest and I want to collect alms food. And I was referring to that sutta like, I want to stick to the traditional monks' ways and stuff like that. So when I was interacting with these people, my parents and, these people, and these other lay people, I was just mainly, I think I just tried to keep the conversation, the words out of my mouth related to Dhamma, mostly just related to Dhamma.
Correct.
And, not get too, like, not get involved in, the worldly concerns or the worldly kind of things they had going on. So, yeah.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. That's why, even now, if you refer, when the Yogasrama Sanstha is built, Most Venerable Jnanarama Mahathero and the Kadavaddi Jinavansa Mahathero. And they don't want to continue the typical traditional temple stuff. Say, typical traditional temple monks, what they do is they simply preach. They participate in various dana ceremonies at their houses, the people's houses, and various other ceremonies. When they are pass away, we have to participate and do the chanting. And when a new baby is born, we have to go and chanting. New harvest, we have to go and chanting. New house opening, go and chanting. Die again, go and chanting. They attend again, go and chanting. Something problem, someone becomes sick, okay, we go and chanting. So that is the tradition. So that was the temple monk's duty, very much like, and that is what people are expecting. So that is why they are establishing a temple and asking few monks to come there, because they have so many needs. So they are like servants. Monks have become servants of the lay people. So they are giving orders. Okay, you come today to my house. We are going to offer dana. You come to you give a blessing to my newborn baby. You give a blessing to whatever the ceremony. My father passed away. So all the different requests are coming to the temple. So now temple monks are bound to fulfill those requests. So Jnanarama Bhante and Kadavaddi Jinavansa Bhante understood. So this is not going to work. So what's happened to the monk? Do he have his time for spiritual growth? So they are like servants. They are doing a kind of a job, kind of a profession. So they completely rejected the system. So they started a forest tradition. If you want, we are going for village Pindapata. So you can offer something. Don't come and ask anything. I have my own business to do. I want to meditate. That's all. Don't disturb me. So that's the very much what they have started. So that's the essence in a way. That's the motivation. So there is no point of preaching Dhamma to these lay people. So actually that is the incident happened, during one occasion. Now we are going ahead the, Vesak ceremony. Very interesting. So during one Vesak ceremony, Jinavansa Mahathero got a request to deliver Dhamma sermon in a particular temple. Now it's so he's going there. Typically the Dhamma sermon happens at night, say 7 to 8, 8 to 9, something like that. Assume that it was 8 to 9. So he all the way went, maybe, there is no lot of facilities during that time, no. Probably he might have walked, or he might have gone through the public bus, and with lot of effort he approached the temple. And now he is going to preach the Dhamma. Who is there to listen to the Dhamma? So very old few ladies and only other few old men. That's all, only 5-6 people. So this monk coming from all the way to this temple to deliver a Dhamma sermon for 1 hour for 6-7 people. So what has happened to the others? They all gone to the city to see the Torana, pandals. So lights and carnivals and blah blah, all the sounds, ceremonies. So all the people who are young and who can walk, they all gone out to see the ceremonies. The people who can't walk, so they only stay in the temple to listen to Dhamma sermon. And they are also, nodding. They can't listen. They are also nodding. So he got pissed off in my terms by seeing it. What's the point? What's the purpose of spending time for these villages? So he decided no point, useless. There's no point of preaching Dhamma to these lay people. It's better to mind our own business. We have become monks to attain Nibbana. So let's start a tradition. So the monks are concerned about that goal, not about these others' affairs, not about the lay people's affairs. Let us concern about what Buddha has asked from us. See, when you are becoming a monk, so Sabba Dukkha Nissarana Nibbana Satchikaranatthaya. That's the term. Sabba Dukkha Nissarana. Nibbana Satchikaranatthaya. So to free from all the suffering and to realize the Nibbana. So that is why I am becoming a monk. So that is what the kind of vow. So we forget that and we do all services to the lay people, and that becomes our life. So that's not going to work. So that is how they started the Yogasama Sanstha. With a very, very basic frugal kind of facilities, just kind of huts and, in the forest, going on village Pindapata. And there were many objections coming from many different parties, but slowly it fulfilled, flourished, and ultimately it becomes a huge organization. Now around, I think 300 monasteries are there. But the bad thing, unfortunate things, is now forest monasteries are trying to become temples. Temples. Yeah. Ceremonies and participating in people's houses and spirit chanting and all things. So what the two pioneers rejected, now the other juniors are now slowly coming to that.
Oh, Sarai Swaminatha, thank you. And I also wanted to say that, when, I was staying at this study temple in Colombo for one evening. It's called Vajirarama. And there was a samanera there, another samanera from Ukraine. He was Ukrainian. He was there, and we went for Pindapata in the morning. We went outside the temple for Pindapata in that area surrounding the temple, and we had people. They were trying to offer money and stuff, and we refused it. We refused all the offerings of money, but it was interesting. We were getting food too, but it's like monks are not supposed to handle money and stuff. And we're not supposed to be wealthy or anything like that. So, we got more than enough food, but it was, just interest, the lay people are giving money, and it's, they don't know, I'm sure they don't really know, but it's monks are not supposed to handle money, and, so that's...
the thing is, other monks may be accepting now.
You're right, in that area. This is the middle of Colombo.
That is exactly Kuladusana. Now the typical norm has become complete opposite thing.
Yeah.
Then how are we going to correct it?
Yeah.
So when someone else is going, a proper monk is going, so the people think, so he's a useless person. We can't accept you. We can't allow you to stay in our temple.
Yeah.
You are not doing what we want. You are not a good monk.
Yeah.
So the way of thinking has completely changed.
Yeah.
So that is the Kuladusana.
Yeah.
So that's what happened in that particular Sikkhapada, in that precept. So I can't remember, in the Goshitarama or somewhere. So some monks are staying and they are doing various transactions with the people, and they are become very popular and they are become part of their family like thing. And then another monk going from he want to be not maintaining any kind of such relationship. He simply collect food and then he mind his own business. And people start sort of condemning him. But there was one, intelligent guy in that village. He understood what has happened, and he reported to Buddha. I think Buddha or Venerable Sariputta, someone who he reported. Then Buddha established this precept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's we got more than enough food, too much. We had to give a bunch of the food that we got to the kitchen at the temple because we got just so much food. So it's we already have enough, we have enough food. Transportation hasn't been an issue for me here in Sri Lanka. Health hasn't been an issue for me. The healthcare, hasn't been an issue for me. And Gil and Pasa, we have more than enough Gil and Pasa. My dayakas in Colombo, they gave me some tea, some black tea. It's we have more than enough. It's we don't need more stuff, money. We don't need wealth or anything like that. We're already getting too much stuff, food and stuff. It's the last thing we need is more money. And these people, some of these people are poor, I'm sure, giving away their money instead. They keep it. We don't need it. So
that's the thing. We have to teach them we don't need it. We have everything else, so we don't need. You keep it to yourself. Anyway, so we have to handle things properly properly in the sense we can't immediately blame, say, temple monks and ask them to leave. That's also not possible. And we can't ask people, okay, we are not doing anything, don't come and ask me. So that is also something we have to balance. We have to slowly educate them. Okay, there is something. So this is our schedule. This is our monastery rules. So we can't go beyond that. I can't come to your house. So then I am going against the rules. So likewise, we have to, diplomatically have to handle the situation. So as you said, when someone is asking to come and get, say, dana at my house, so how are we going to politely refuse it? So that is also something we need to do. So we can't simply accept and you go and this thing. Then it is kind of outside the monastery rules. So we are not supposed to do it. We are, as much as possible, Nissarana, we are trying to keep that rule. We are not participating any kind of, dana ceremonies outside other places. And say we are not going to, funerals and paritta chanting and even not doing any katina ceremonies. So as much as possible, avoiding all that. So that monks may have some time for their practice. So that tradition has to be protected. So either Bhante Dhamma Jiva, it is not my response. We are trying our best. But the young monks, the other people who are coming in should understand that tradition. So that is established for a purpose. It is not that we don't like it. Now we have so much of relationships. People are always asking, please come Bhante, please take that. Everything is there. They are offering. But we have to diplomatically refuse it. Diplomatically say, no, please understand. So don't misunderstand. So this is the monastery rule. If they know, they will punish me, or rather something we can tell. No? So actually, when I was there in Newcastle, so the organizers they have actually arranged a separate place for me to stay. So they arranged that. That's a separate apartment. So I'm quite happy because no one is there, just me. And in the morning they get together and offer me in the morning breakfast, and the lunch also same thing at the retreat center. They arrange that. That's all. But apart from that, another organizer at the end of the retreat, now he is asking me to come to his house for his house dana. So now I was thinking, now it is included in the schedule. So at the end of the retreat, I am going to the organizer's house and taking dana there. Next day I have to travel. So okay, I was okay then. Things are there. So later, once things are going well, then I slowly put the message. Better you take as usual to the apartment. I am not supposed to come to the house. So it is against the monastery rules. So then diplomatically handled. Then they understood. So they understood. We have to handle it properly. So that is where when we are coming from a monastery, where kind of an accepted norm is there. So please don't go to houses. Then we can use that term. No, it is not me establishing that. It is coming from the Jnanarama Bhante. It is coming from the Bhante Dhamma Jiva. So so please don't blame me. So they are the ones responsible. So they are the pioneers. They are the great teachers, preceptors. So I am just a young monk. So please excuse me. I can't do it. Then people will understand. So they are not going against me. They will understand. Yes, Bhante, I really respect that. So they really appreciate that then. They have more faith then I go in there and I become a, kind of a fellow family member type of monk. So when I am refusing it, and please understand, we have a kind of a monastery rule. We are not supposed to go to any house. So please understand. But we really respect that rule. Then they more faithfully come and offer. So that's the thing. So we have to handle it properly. So even now saying here, so we are not allowing women to come before say 12 noon. We are not allowing any women to come here. After 1:30 we are not allowing them to be here. So likewise some strict rules are there. So as much as we are maintaining that, we are protected. But the moment we lose them, we allow everybody to come and play and partying and all bullshit, and then we are also going to this and that, gone. Monastery will become a temple. That's it. Yeah.
We got stopped. We were in Kandy, and a police officer stopped, the car. And the police stopped the car, and they were checking for his license and all. So he must have I think he committed some violation, some traffic violation. But they let us go because I was in the car, because I was the monk. So so they let us go because obviously they were Buddhists, and they have faith in the monks. So he was like, I remember him saying, the driver, he was saying, yeah, they understand that, like, being a monk is a hard life, so they have faith and they don't, like, so
trouble him.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, they have faith in the monks because he's saying they know that being a monk is a hard life. So, but if we, it's important to point out that, like, if we start doing things like taking money from people, or like handling money, or we start accepting these nice, like, lunch invitations at people's homes, for dana and stuff, like, then we're starting to, it's not as hard anymore. It's not as, difficult. We got all this fancy food. We got all, this money to buy what we want.
Exactly.
We have all these nice gifts from people, donations and stuff like that. It's so
now we also have many things.
so like, essentially, what can end up happening is we can start to become like lay people.
Exactly. So that's the thing.
So
as monks, we need to understand that difference. So what are the samana qualities? Now here Buddha highlights certain samana qualities. No, the qualities of a recluse, qualities of a monk. So we are not meditating lay people. So meditating lay people are also there. So they are also practicing Dhamma. But here, being a monk, so we have to have something additional. So we need to remember that we can't be meditating lay people. We are monks. So we have to give some kind of an example. Say, so as you correctly mentioned, so if I am forgetting all about monks' rules, sila and all these things, and I am becoming a meditating lay person and giving instructions, then what's the purpose? I better restore. So why am I representing a monk's role? So a monk role and the typical lay person has to be quite different. So that slowly we need to understand that. So what are the samana qualities that we need to inculcate? So what am I representing? So like you said, say the precepts like not using money, say not eating afternoon, and say, so these are the very basic things at least we need to maintain, and have some equanimous attitude to everyone. So there is no huge intimate relationship with anyone, but common to everyone. Everyone can approach. So, and just maintaining the enough, only a kind of frugal kind of lifestyle, not having so many things. Say in your kuti, if you have so much of things, so much of requisites filled with the kuti, then you don't have a lighter life. When we are going somewhere, if we have some only very essential things to carry, I don't need to worry about what is going on in my kuti and how things are, degrade and destroy and everything. Then I'm good. I don't need to worry. So I can simply leave. So that's what Buddha expected. So that kind of samana qualities we need to understand. So what are the differences between a layperson and a monk? So that has to be very well understood. So that we have to represent also. That we have to live, and it has a purpose. It has a purpose. The thing is, now if you can remember, so one simile Buddha giving. The difference between a layperson and a monk is that he say layperson is like a peacock. This monk is like a swan. Why? Swan can fly a long distance without any trouble. He only has the little, whatever the necessary, what's that called? Wings. That's all. Peacock is extremely beautiful, but can't fly long. Dance and show off and fly only a little distance, that's all, only very little distance. But the monk's life is completely different from that. He doesn't have many things, he has only the essential things, say maybe 3 ropes and the ball. Other than that, only the essential things, and that's it. And you can go wherever you like. Don't have any much of attachment. So that is the kind of life that Buddha is asking. So there is a simile, like say a group of deers. So they are going from one forest to another forest. There is no any kind of attachment to any particular dwelling place, thinking, okay, I have left that thing, I have left this thing. So these are the things. So as we become older, as we become established in a particular monastery, so we are becoming different. Now I am here for about 10 years almost like. So now certain attachments are there, responsibilities are there. So I am somewhat hooked up here now. So, but that can become a burden to me. I may feel heavy then. My mind feel heavy. Because I can't go freely. Everyone is asking, where are you, Bhante? What's happened to this program? What happened to that program? So it can become a burden. If I can handle things, fine. As a responsibility, it doesn't mean that we forget everything and take only the whatever necessary from the monastery and then forget it, leave it aside, and then I mind our own business, and that is also not the correct thing. The other extreme. That is the other extreme. Say you don't want to take any responsibility. You don't want to help any other person. You are not taking care of any other young monks or teaching or anything because you have your own goal. So don't disturb me. So that is the other extreme, isn't it? So because you are in a way that is very selfish. And previously we have to be selfish in the sense that till we are growing. So then it's a matter of we need to put it to a trouble and see how resilient I am. When all the problems are coming to me, when all the responsibilities are available to me, am I able to handle it while maintaining a dispassionate mind, while maintaining a relaxed mind? So that is a skill that I need to develop. So it won't happen while I am simply alone. So that is also something that we need to put it and see whether am I capable of doing it or I am not capable. I am confusing everything, or I am, others, I can't do it properly. So that is something that I need to try and see. If I can, then it's well and do. I need to know the limit in a way. I need to maintain a kind of a balance. If can't, better take a break. Okay, Bhante, I need some break. So please ask someone else to do. I have a little bit of, I need a balance. I need a break. Fine. Otherwise, if you are capable and if you can maintain a balance, better contribute also. Because in the like in the Ajahn Chah tradition, so they really promote both. So time to time going your own, and most of the time being in a monastery, being in as a group, as a sangha. So that is also very necessary, because while in a group only we get all the problems. Because many others are there, many duties are there. Many duties are there. So likewise so many things are there. So there are enough problems while in a group, while in a team. But you alone may be less problems. But being in a group is challenging, but that is what emphasized. So that's why the first 5 years you have to be in a group, be within the community. The community life we need to learn. So then probably you can try going your own and see a little bit, explore yourself, again come back, again establish. So likewise it's a kind of a, both sides like. Yeah.
When you practice the sitting meditation and walking meditation,
yeah.
So you develop yourself and you look into yourself, and it become a game or an exercise when you deal with people. So you can see yourself how much you attach and how much you reject things.
Again, and how much you can now say you practice. So after practice, assume that you engage with some activity. You can detect, because of this engagement, is there any kind of harm happen to your practice? Previously, now that is why we are asking you to be very quiet. Be silent as much as possible. Don't go and talk with people. Assume that you are in a retreat. So we are not allowing people to talk. Why? The talking will deteriorate their whatever the samadhi, the collectedness of the mind, because this talking is a real distraction. But later, so the person has to have a kind of a capacity to retain that calmness. Even though he involved with a lot of activities, if he can retain that calmness, so that is the maturity in a way. So that is where he alone, he has his own time also to develop. At the same time, he involved with others as well, but he know the limit, and he without getting entangled, lotus leaf like thing, without getting entangled, without getting confused, without getting destroyed by himself. So he know how to maintain it. Really challenging in a way, very challenging. Definitely takes time. Definitely takes time. Even though you experience something, it doesn't guarantee that you have that capacity. It's a kind of a seasoning kind of thing. Slowly. That's why in the typical tradition, so as Bhante Dhammajiva highlights, now the first 5 years, so you are being in a teacher. Within a group, you are very protected, you are not going to village, you are not participating with external activities, you are not dealing with the lay people. So you are very much like a protected young child. Say after 5 years, with an inspection of another person, another elder monk, you do some limited activities. Some activities are there, you are going for preaching something, maybe within the community, and time to time certain assignments you do, but under the inspection, under the supervision. After 10 years only, you are given a kind of a complete responsibility So something like that. So that is very safe. The problem is nowadays monks are very, eager to do things immediately. So they are not taking enough time. As young monks, so we need some time to grow, no? So we need to learn first ourselves rather than teach others. But no point of immediately just after putting the robe, I go and preach and this and that and all these things. Exactly. So that Buddha mentioned in the Salleka Sutta. So if you are being in the mud, taking another person out is not going to happen. At least you need to take your head out and see, there's something out. You are not an arahant, but at least something is available outside. Heart grip, exactly.
Bhante, I think nowadays, there are some monks, who, once they put on the robes or something, there's some monks I think nowadays who are just who are very eager to be teachers, and maybe travel different places and stuff, and they don't kind of take time to be settled, and but just reflecting on my trip, this week when I was out for traveling can be very hectic. Definitely. It's like traveling on this bus with loud music. It was yesterday from Kandy to Kirin Dawela, and it was just loud music and baby crying and stuff like that. And if you're flying on airplanes, going through airports, it's just they
are playing. Instead of that, they are playing all the movies, and so I have just to wait in front of me, next to me. Maybe sometimes women, sometimes kids, sometimes men. They are taking wine, beers, and drinking whiskey. All the movies, killing, sex, and all these things. Okay, let me feel.
Definitely, if you were to ordain and just be settled for a little while, it's just being settled, I think, is just I can't see myself traveling here and there, just all of it's just even if I was a more senior monk, I think if I traveled, I would just want to walk there on foot. I don't want to get on these planes and buses and just noise and hecticness everywhere and say. So but I think some monks, they're eager to be teachers and have students and fame, and then
that's the thing. We need to wait actually till the things happen. We need to wait.
Yeah.
Just to go, myself now you might see me as a teacher, but I was not a teacher about say few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So basically now after ordaining, now thing is I ordained at the age of 36.
36.
Not a young monk, no.
Oh.
Young in the sense from the age.
Mm-hmm.
Only at 36 I ordained, and at now I didn't do anything other than my meditating thing. I don't get involved anything. I didn't even my friends never come to see me. I don't have any relationships. I didn't use a phone. I didn't use a tab. Nothing was there for 6 years. So by the way, the Bhante Arinanda, so the teacher, he understood certain skill. So time to time that is his thing. No, it is not my thing. This is not my initiative. in the fourth Vassa, I was asked to go to Malaysia to conduct something retreat. So I went there, and that's also asked me to go with a senior monk. I was at that time just 4 Vassa. I went with a 14 Vassa monk.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a two monks, so young monk and that another Vassa. So something. And that is also only for 3 months assignment. Then again coming back, again being in the monastery.
Yeah.
So after 6 years, then it's typically allowed. 5 years it's typically allowed. So I am also getting mature and something like that. Then went to Burma with Bhante Dhammajiva, and here group, not alone. I mean, I visited here, get his assistance and these monks. Then I went to Burma, again came with them, again being here. So Bhante Dhammaji was conducting retreat. So I am just at my kuti. There's no conducting of retreats, no saying Dhamma sermons, nothing was there. So only in 2016 only I was asked to do participate in the retreat, because at that time Bhante Dhammaji was going abroad. So nobody is conducting. So there also I refused. I can't preach Dhamma sermons. I just do the Kamatan Suddha Kirima, just interviews I'll do. So only at about 5 p.m. I go there, I just do the interview and again come back. That's all, no preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Then only after another 2 years maybe start completing the full retreat. So I feel kind of a very safe way I have handled. Because otherwise, I need to feel kind of confident, and then only we can confidently tell something. Rather than imagine and telling something, and thinking and telling something, and referring a book and telling something. So you need to have your own confidence coming through the practice and living the Dhamma. Then you are confident.
And I also wanted to say that it's important to, if you teach, it's important to teach when you're invited to teach.
Exactly.
So
that's the thing.
I think some monks nowadays, I've seen monks, and it appears that they are they want to be maybe famous, or they want to have students and stuff. I'm not trying to criticize these monks per se, but teaching is like a duty. It's like a responsibility. So if somebody asks you to teach, it's okay, well, yeah, I'll teach because they've asked me. We're requesting you to give this Dhamma talk or something. But if it's you're searching for fame and students and maybe a social media following and stuff like that can hinder your practice, certainly. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. I mean, we as human beings have an inner desire to become popular.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has that as a kind of an inner urge. So I want to become famous. I want to become popular. Let me have many followers. So that is. Monk star. So likewise, a new star. So likewise, so I mean, whenever they are in a particular their area, so they want to highlight themselves in that particular profession, isn't it? I mean, in the monkhood, they want to highlight themselves. Maybe in a layperson, as a layperson, if they are in a particular profession, they want to highlight themselves. So that is an inner urge we have, everyone. So how are we going to handle it without destroying ourselves, and without giving a wrong interpretation or wrong model example to the others?
Yeah.
That is something we need to be careful.
Yeah.
The thing is, now say many people are in trust of you. Assume that many people are in trust of you and you become a monk star. And all of a sudden say you disrobe. What happened to the people? So they were believing in you, they were trusting you, they were learning Dhamma from you, and you do the complete opposite thing. And what happened to the followers? That's a problem.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So then it is not a normal monk who is, doing the typical mistake, but a popular monk doing it, a teacher doing it. So it becomes a huge responsibility. As you said, it becomes a huge responsibility. So am I able to maintain that life? So what are they expecting? So because sometimes people are expecting some extraordinary things. So you have to behave like a, arahant. So that is also not possible, no? Now assume that you are not an arahant. I am also not an arahant. So am I trying to show off like an arahant? Then I am cheating, isn't it?
Well, Bhante, I wanted to point out, there's this, I'm not going to say his name or anything, there's this monk, I know he's American, but he's quite famous now, and he has like a big following, and I've met him in person, on more than one occasion. And recently, I was reading on like I think it was Reddit that he was like, as a layperson, he was like boasting about like superior meditative attainments, more or less like on this you could say this app. Yeah, it's an app. It's called Discord. Discord is like an app. I can't explain it fully to you. It's like an app, and I think you can like have like groups on there, like chat rooms. And he was like, when he was like a layperson, I was reading on Reddit, I think it was Reddit, that when he was a layperson, he was like bragging about like superior like meditative attainments on Discord, and like trying to like sell his services as a teacher and stuff like that. He's now really famous as a monk. He's now a monk, and he's quite famous, and he has a big following. But it's like that's the being a monk, being a teacher of Dhamma is a big responsibility. Because you have to teach the.
And again, the other thing is, Buddha categorically mentioned not to show whatever the spiritual attainments.
Yeah.
So that is something that we need to be careful. I mean, these whatever the attainments, whatever the spiritual accomplishments are not there for selling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of.
We're not trying to be famous. Yeah, we're not trying to be like famous and.
Yeah. No. I mean, the point is now. I mean, people may understand when we are talking, referring certain suttas and how we are interpreting it, how we are, explaining it. That's a different story. I mean, that is the understanding, and there is no other way of telling it.
Yeah.
But telling, highlighting, okay, I am a Sotapanna, I am an Arahant. So that is in a way. I mean, how are we going to tell that? So when we are explaining Dhamma, the understanding come to, as you said, I mean, they also have some intellect to know what this guy is speaking, isn't it? I mean, that they also have to practice, then only they can connect. Otherwise, I mean, whatever we are talking like nonsense. So when we are talking about unestablished consciousness and blah blah, what's the bullshit they are talking? I am just finding meaningful to my young child, so they are talking about this thing. So no point. I mean, they also have to in a kind of a layer in that frequency. Then only they can connect.
Yeah.
So that's a different thing. But we telling, okay, I am so and so, I am so and so, I have accomplished this. That is not. I mean, that's a complete.
Yeah.
Unnecessary, and Buddha basically didn't ask not to do it.
Yeah, and when you're doing something like that, like there's another American monk. He's quite famous. I won't mention his name, but he's like bragging about his students like having attained this state or that state, and all this stuff. And it's like it's like you're trying to sell yourself and like get followers and get fame, and that's the complete opposite of the path that the Buddha taught. As monks, we're trying to give up fame. We're trying to give up, worldly life, like fame and.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now the thing is U.S. and all these, most of the Western countries, they are going for commodity-like thing. No, they are the way of thinking and the way the whole society, the economy and everything is build up like. Kind of commodization. I don't know.
Commercialization.
Commercialization, and what to say, this marketing, materialism, and all these things.
Business,
business mind.
Yeah.
So for them to have kind of having a very innocent, invert kind of path would be very difficult.
Yeah.
That is another way.
And now people are like, it's so easy to get famous on social media now. I think people are attracted by that too. Even monks,
yes,
wanting to be famous on, social media, on YouTube, have like, students have fame, following, all that stuff. So, but it's important to point out that that's the exact opposite of what the Buddha taught. We're trying to give up fame. We're trying to give up wealth. We're trying to renounce these things that you see in worldly life. We're trying to renounce these things.
Now, there's another side also. Now, that's very beautifully mentioned by Nissarana Mahathero. Now, if you are a successful monk, one day you have to cross that pit of mud of the popularity.
Mm-hmm.
That is also, I mean, it will come to you It's not that you are searching for that, but you have to cross that.
Yeah. So that's true. I mean, you could still be famous even if you're not trying to be.
Yeah.
But I think the point is to not desire.
That's right. It is monk's responsibility that he has to handle that. It's not that you are completely getting away and refusing everything and be afraid of that. If it is coming to you, say you are taking a little bit of responsibility and doing it. Now as a result of that, you also become popular. How are you crossing that popularity without destroying yourself? How are you taking care of it? That's the point.
As long as I mean, sometimes you could be famous and it just happens. But I think as long as a monk is not like desiring that fame, they're not like greedy for it. As long as they're not greedy for it.
That's what I know. Many American monks also they are maintaining their seniority, their understanding, their way of talking, but they never say that they attained anything. I'm just giving a name, for example, Ajahn Sumedho. Now he is the very very first disciple of the Western disciple of Ajahn Chah. He talks really beautifully about the Dhamma, but never say I'm an Arahant, or I'm so and so, and nothing is there. No self-marketing, but talking about the Dhamma. Isn't it? Now many the proper monks, so they talks about the Dhamma, which is not their Dhamma, no, it is the Buddha's teaching. So we are referring to Buddha's Sutta, whatever available in the canon. So we are, as much as we can, we explain it, that's all. It is not my Dhamma, it is Buddha's teaching, isn't it? So that's why we are keeping a Sutta as the title of a discussion, and we are trying to explain as much as possible as a group. We are trying to understand it, isn't it? So it is not that as a person I am trying to highlight or something like that. So rather than telling I attain or I did this thing, blah blah blah. So that's the way of doing it. So there are many monks doing that properly also. Yeah.
I think nowadays, with the social media and the YouTube and stuff, I think like some of the younger younger monks are like getting too warped up in that stuff, and they're getting like kind of like hypnotized by fame and like having students and being a famous teacher and whatnot. So
what to do? Be careful. Okay, I think we have spent enough time. So we'll end up the session. Thank you very much for participation. So anybody would like to share the merits, please? Yeah.
We'll share the merits with all beings, and we can recite the traditional verses. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang.